Hi, I've decided to make this video because there are a lot of misconceptions about Spinoza that come up in discussions of his philosophy and his ideas. First, let's try to look at how Spinoza's God is not nature in the way we understand nature today. This might seem a little tricky to argue for because Spinoza clearly writes God or nature, Deus sive natura. So how does that work? How is that not nature? Spinoza doesn't mean nature in the way we understand nature today as the collection of mountains, plants and rivers. In Latin, nature is divided into two types. There is Natura Naturans and Natura Naturata. And the distinction between the two is fundamental to understanding how the elements of nature do not constitute God according to Spinoza. This difference between Natura Naturans and Natura Naturata is so important that the first translators of Spinoza's Ethics left out the statement God or nature from the Dutch translation of the book after Spinoza's death, in order not to cause any confusion, because they foretold that European languages other than Latin lacked that distinction. Natura naturans means nature naturing. It describes the creative force that creates and imbues life in the elements of nature and subdues them to a set of rules. And this is Spinoza's God, who is not completely different in this respect from the Abrahamic God, the God we find in monotheistic religions. Natura naturata, however, refers to nature natured. It is the outcome of Natura naturans. Natura naturata is the collection of rocks, pebbles, the wind, and everything, and this is not Spinoza's God. So to say that humans, forests, and animals are God according to Spinoza is wrong. They constitute modes of God. The modes of a thing are not the thing. To give an example, it is like there's the sun and sun rays that reach Earth and that are the modes of the sun. You can't equate sun rays to the sun. Spinoza says that there cannot be nor be conceived any substance but God. This means that God is the only substance that exists. He says that whatever is in God. This means that the only thing that exists is God, and because of what God is, modes follow or come to be. Just like because of what the sun is, sun rays come to be, and they're radiant and hot and far-reaching. The second aspect of Spinoza's philosophy that causes some confusion is, are we free? Are we unfree? Are we capable of being free? First, we should define what being free means. We are part of nature, and no human can break free from being part of nature. Spinoza writes, "It is impossible that man should not be a part of nature, or that he should be capable of undergoing no changes save such as can be understood through his nature, only as their adequate cause." This means that the human does not have any choice but to be part of nature and to obey the laws of nature. We age, we contract diseases, our bones break, we die. When we are thirsty, we feel obliged to quench our thirst, and so forth. If we were free from the laws of nature, and if all we required to maintain our existence were within ourselves, and if we were immune to any external laws or influences, we would be gods, and we would never die. This is not the case. Therefore, we are not free. We are acted upon by the laws of nature. In this sense, we are not free, but there are other ways in which we are not free. Every action we undertake is the effect of some prior cause. We drink water because we feel thirsty. We hurry because we're late. Sometimes the chain of causation is clear to us, and some other times it is not. But there is always a cause. Leibniz analyzes causation marvelously in his exposition of the principle of sufficient reason. So if all our actions are reactions to causes, we never undertake any actions freely. But Spinoza argues we can be free. We have established that our actions and thoughts are always motivated by some prior cause. Let's call this cause an idea. Spinoza says that there are adequate ideas and inadequate ideas, and that both of them make us act or feel certain ways. Let's say we primarily exist in a state of inertia, no movement. Every physical movement we make or every thought that takes place in our minds is carried out because it is useful to us. Our primary goal is to persevere in being. This perseverance in being or existence is what Spinoza calls conatus. However, sometimes we think certain actions or certain thoughts are useful while they are not. These errors of judgment mar our attempts to always act in the best way that serves our interests, and these errors of judgment are caused by what Spinoza calls our inadequate ideas. We are under the influence of inadequate ideas when we let passions urge us to act certain ways or to think certain ways, and by passions Spinoza means anger, sadness, hatred, and all emotions. This happens when we inadequately understand events that happen in our lives, when we let events that are external to us affect us, and this decreases our freedom and damages our attempts to persevere in being. To give a concrete example, when a person says hurtful things to us, insults or anything, and as a result we feel sad or mad, we think it is the other person and his or her words that have made us experience sadness, while in reality sadness originates from within ourselves. The moment we understand this adequately, we know that sadness and anger and wrath are all emotions that we create inside us, and we stop making those wrong connections and letting external factors affect how we feel, and this is how we reclaim some of our freedom. This mechanism is reinforced through habits. All events that happen in our lives must not push us to form inadequate ideas and to feel certain ways or to act in certain ways. All our actions and thoughts should come directly from causes that originate within ourselves. So in conclusion, we can never be completely free, but we are freer when we act only in accordance with causes that come directly from within ourselves, and we are less free when we construct inadequate relations between external modes and ourselves. Now this video has reached its end. Until we meet again, have a great day.